that wouldn't allow us to do our government and do it. It's kind of like the
Right.
Obama thing. I had a conversation with a guy, and he told me, it was African American. He said, I don't think we were ready for a black president. Now, he's talking about us, meaning not the entirety of the country. He's saying because blacks couldn't criticize him. And the point I made to him, we couldn't criticize him because Republicans were attacking him viciously, sometimes what we would consider to be racist, and it almost forced you to defend him, whether you wanted to
Right.
or not. It's almost just like, God, man, they're being so unfair to him. You're almost forced to. In a weird reverse way, it's with Trump also.
Right.
Just by, like, I don't like Trump, and yet I find myself in this weird position of, yeah, that's BS. Which immediately, oh, you're defending Trump. It's like, no, I'm defending the process from this BS that you guys are spewing. There's a difference in those things. If we get in along a line of Trump policy, then yeah, I'm going to eat him alive. If it gets into process that just seems to be, we want to get him out of office, we don't care about the election, then yeah, I end up on, this can happen to my guy. Not just can happen to my guy. This is not how our governmental system was made. This notion of just gross, over-the-top partisan politics that doesn't really care about the myths of the country that glue us together. That's not the way it was built, and yet that's the way the system has become. And
Yeah.
do you think this is this way going forward?
Yeah, yes, I don't think it gets better, but I think the divisions, and I think this is a good thing. The divisions that they've been hiding in the parties and around the left-right divisions are going to start to become more pronounced. Going into 2020, the Democratic Party, I mean, you're going to have two straight presidential elections where they just rig the living crap out of them. And you can't hold the party together like that. 2016 speaks for itself. And if you're paying attention to 2020, everything from these arbitrary rules on polls, flooding the market with candidates to try to stop Bernie Sanders, the things that they're doing, and continually working through their proxies in the media, MSNBC, CNN, Hillary Clinton, the elder statesman coming out, Barack Obama coming out. So the leadership of the party obviously rigging the election, basically saying to progressives, we hate your guts. We'll certainly take your vote. We need your vote, but you need to shut up and just do what you're told. And this is going to be, I think, the last straw. We'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure at this point, I'm taking Bernie Sanders in a blowout based on what I see. And then that puts, the party in a position from their perspective. They're going to look at it and say, if we let Bernie take over, the party as we know it is dead. And they're right.
They are right.
Because it's not a party right now.
They are right.
It's nothing but an elitist club. But they're going to say, but our other options are to go with Trump. We can't do that, or to try to hide back here in the dark and pretend like we're not involved. So, but the bottom line is this: when it comes down to it, if I had to bet, I'd say Bernie wins it in a blowout and they cheat him anyway, and then the party collapses. I don't know that that's true, but that doesn't seem like an unreasonable scenario for me.
It's not an unreasonable scenario. My thought was you only get one cheat before people start flipping out. It's like you could
Right.
You can't cheat the man twice. Where the first time it's so over and so over the top, and then the second time around you cheat him again because you can't. That destroys the party. I don't know how a party survives after something like that takes place, where both, not to mention lefties have been placed in the corner for so long, and now they're trying to get their sea legs back, and they're pushing back on what ultimately is establishment candidate failing to a reality show host in a populist campaign that Trump just so happened to beat the stuffing out of her.
I have a question for you, and I think it's an important question that nobody's asking. Tulsi Gabbard says she ain't gonna, she's not gonna run third party or whatever, right?
Right. You believe her?
But she's not running again, right? She's not running again for a seat in Hawaii. She's up to something. Here's what I think. I think after the election, Tulsi Gabbard starts a party.
Now, let me ask you this: do you think she should have voted present or no? Like, what do you think on that? Because I've had a lot of lefties who dislike my opinion on this.
I think she should have voted no, but I'm not going to quabble. The bottom line is, in her own way, in the context of what was going on in that chamber, that was a no.
Yes.
And it wasn't when she voted her vote. It wasn't so much what she voted; it was who voted it. Here's what I mean: there was like two other Democrats that voted no.
Nobody
One of them
cared.
voted no on both things, and another guy voted no on the obstruction of Congress and yes on the other one.
Yeah.
They actually voted no. Their names are nowhere in the press. She voted present. Near attendance, calling her a Russian bot, and
Yeah.
now, boo, all of they're after her. So it wasn't that she even voted it; it's what she voted. Viewed through the lens of her foreign policy, she is their worst nightmare. And like I said, I don't see her other alternative for her. I think if she starts a third party, because she has crossover appeal in so many ways, you know what I mean? Her politics, and let's face it, she's a beautiful, charismatic person.
Yes, she is.
If she starts a third party, you're going to get people from both sides in. I'll be honest, I may probably join it just because I'm so much dying for a third party for some other option. Out of like immediately, I'd be like, oh, a third party, I'm in. What are you guys talking about?
Especially if it's viable. I agree with you. I have two frames of mind on this. It's kind of like the Brexit vote, right? Like this is an extremely important vote, and it feels like she punts. By the same token, a rational human being, that is the position to take. Meaning you're splitting both sides of the electorate. Meaning you have people who are on your left and who are on your right that are part of your base. She has an odd coalition. And that odd coalition, any vote that she makes, like there's no upside to her voting yes. Like they hate her. They're not going to hate her any less if she says, okay, yeah, I'm going to vote the president. They're not even going to give it a second thought. They're just going to keep moving on. They're not going to care. If she votes no, her time as a Democrat, for all intents and purposes, is over. And by the way, if she votes no, her base may like it from the standpoint of the right, but I don't see how she runs in a Democratic primary when you have almost solidarity on this front. It's like the strongest position she could take was president. And people are like, oh, that's a punt. Oh, that's a cowardly position. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. I think it's a rational position as a human being to say, I don't want to burn either side, and I don't entirely agree with this impeachment. And that's the catch.
Well, let me ask you a question about this whole thing with her crossover appeal.
Yeah.
If I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think half or more than half of the states are like open, where you can vote for either party. I wouldn't be shocked for Tulsi Gabbard to make I'm not going to say win, to make a bit of a go up.
Good numbers.
It would not surprise me. Look, there's nobody on the ballot versus Trump. And these MAGA people, they like Tulsi Gabbard. She's military, she's tough, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of things about Tulsi Gabbard to like. And again, there are a lot of MAGA people who are anti-war.
Yes.
Who are done, well, I wouldn't say anti-war. They're done with these wars, regime change wars, and they want out of that.
Yeah.
So it won't shock me for her to go into some states and really surprise some people with the numbers that she turns out, and maybe even win a state or two with Republican support. And I don't think it's that, oh well, she's the Russian bot or whatever. It's that she offers them some policies and some things that they're attracted to, that everyone's attracted, that a lot of people are attracted to.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, her crossover appeal is basically, I'm sick of these regime change wars, and you have a lot of right wingers who say, yes, we are too. And by the way, give her a pass on some of the other policies. Like, her saying, I want single payer plus, whatever that is. Now, that is, whatever you want to say single payer plus is damn sure not a Republican plan.
Right.
And they're willing to give her a pass. Like, it's amazing. I think it's one of those things where you vote for certain policies, and other policies, you let the person have their due. And so it's like, all right, look, we want this anti-war stuff. So, yes. If you want to get, I don't know, some kind of healthcare plan, okay, we might be okay with that. I mean, this also is in comparison to whoever she's running against, because it's always going to be a contest in that sense. New Hampshire, she's doing extremely well. The Baltic Soften poll, even the average poll from the standpoint of real politics, she's not doing horrible at all. Considering Kamala Harris, top-tier candidate, is no longer in the race, and Tulsi Gabbard is. So I like her. I mean, to me, she's an attractive candidate. People ding me when I try to make the point, or just kind of, they have this idea that she's taking principal positions. And my point to them was, she may be, you won't necessarily know because you're observing her, and the very fact that you're observing her being you're not in her head. But by the same token, you can't back away from this notion that she's a human being that's in a contest, and if she is rational, she knows that she is tethered, that anything she does has a consequence. So it's not like, she's in a political race and she's like completely floating in a void where she doesn't necessarily care about what happens in her actions, are just kind of out there. She's a person. And just
she's
like
got advisors.
Yeah, just like
you can be sure she sat in a room with her advisors, and if you were working on her campaign, if you were leading her campaign, you would say, let's bring in our top people, let's sit down, let's bring in our PR people, let's look at our options. You might have a whiteboard in the room here's three positions we can take. Who's for this position and why? You know what I mean? I'm sure if you are professionals,
Yeah, you would at least.
of course, it's her final decision, but I guarantee her staff has run a number of options for her. Yes, no, present, etc.
Yes.
Abstain, don't even show up.
Right.
They've run by scenarios and they've looked at, for instance, you look at your whatever your 6% is, and you say we've done some polls within our 6%, and 90% of them still want impeachment. You know what I mean? You look at these things. So I don't think she just wandered in a room with a cup of coffee and said,
Yeah, I don't think that either. But you have some people who are like, oh, she's so principled that this other stuff didn't come into consideration. I was like, nonsense. She's a person. I mean, and by the way, that could be just because she came to this conclusion and it's advantageous to her. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not a principled position. You know, like, you know, you could still say, yeah, he might have did something, but impeachment is too far, so I don't want to vote for it. By the same token, I don't want to vote against it because he did something wrong. Like, you can come to that in somewhat of a rational way. But I still say this is the best positional vote that she could take. I honestly think the president vote. And last thing, what's going to happen in the debate tonight? So who do you think is the most vulnerable? And who do you think has the opportunity to shine in this particular debate? And this will be the last question.
I think Biden is the most vulnerable, and I think Biden is the most vulnerable in every debate because Biden has had some cognitive lapses, shall we say, that are so significant that if he had some of those lapses during the debate, he'd be disqualified.
Yes.
So my question is, at some point, will Joe Biden during a debate have one of those blonde hair kids in the pool moments? And just, you know, everyone will get to the point where they'll just face palm and say, okay, this experiment can't go anymore. And then Hillary jumps back in or something like whatever.